Gate 16 in human design. We're going to talk about the Gate 16 today. So you might have landed on this video if you were looking for that information. Maybe you have it in your chart, or maybe you're just a human design lover like me and like to learn anything about human design when it comes in the right time and the right frequency. So you might be any of those things. Whatever you are, you're welcome here. My name is Trini Cuillos. I have been working with human design for the past 5 years in my own life and with hundreds of people, helping them to understand their human design. And one thing I have really observed is that this information operates in spirals, like layers and layers and layers of deconditioning, but also of awakening, of moments where you realize you really are not who you thought you were. And of course, that happens to you at the beginning with human design, or most people will have that experience. But in my personal journey, it's been like again and again and again in a spiral. And I'm going through one of those spirals right now. Usually it means also like a death and a rebirth, and it's like hard and a little bit like melancholic, but it's also like exciting because newness comes. And I think that's why I've been sharing a lot more in English, which is my favorite language to speak. So Gate 16 in human design. We are transiting that gate right now in the sun, so I responded to talking about it. And it's one of my favorite gates. It's the gate of skills, it's the gate of enthusiasm, and it's in the throat center. And I think one of the things that is my favorite things about this gate for me is what it teaches us about talent. So gate 16 in the throat connects with the gate 48 in the spleen, and it forms the channel of talent. And this is huge. This is my favorite part of human design, is looking at the chart and being like, what does this teach us about humanity, and what does it teach us about how things work for us that we don't necessarily think of in that way, and that we're conditioned to think of in another way. So gate 16 and the channel of talent is logical. There's different categories in human design, and it's logical. It falls into the logical category, and that means a lot. That means a lot. Talent is logical. Skills are logical, and it might be easier for our minds to like bring that in. Skills are logical, maybe. For me, it feels more easy, but talent is logical feels like a dissonance between what I have been taught to believe. So if we think of talent and someone who's talented, we just think of like being in awe of what someone can do. And we often associate that with like they were born that way, or it's just part of who they are and it's like effortless. Talent for me feels effortless when I see it. And so it's interesting to think about that it's logical. What is that? Why do I keep saying that? Because the fact that the gate 16 is logical means that it's not mystical. It's not this thing that just is there, that just appears, that you're just born with. Skills is what creates talent. And what this gate teaches us is that talent is something that you do again and again and again and again and again and again and again. It's all about repetition. Logic is all about repetition in the chart and in life. And any gate that you learn about or channel that you learn about that falls into the logic circuitry is going to be about patterns and repeating those. And so talent is actually doing something again and again and again and again so that it feels effortless. And here's what I wanted to transmit today about the gate 16 that I feel is so beautiful, and now that it's transiting feels really fitting to really take in right now in my life, which is that in the end, talent is not about what you're doing. It's not about the outcome. It's about the process. Really, like a person that's gonna have talent in something, it's going to be because they love doing the act of it so much that then they get to a point where they're just so good at doing that act, but they never did it because they were trying to get there. They just wanted to do the work. Like, they wanted to go through the process. So if you think about like the talents that we usually think of, like playing the guitar or playing the piano, right? An instrument. You're not like, or the correct way to go about it, you know, the way that's probably going to be successful is not like, I want to be this good and so I'm going to practice every day. Like, you can definitely do it that way, right? But think about when you see a musician. Oh, what's his name? Jacob Collier comes to mind. When you see a musician that like blows your mind and you're like, whoa, like I want to pay money to go to this person's aura in a concert, or whatever. Like, sometimes it happens to me in like a restaurant where there's like live music and I'm like magnetized to the person that's like playing the guitar and singing. That happens to me a lot. I feel like those people that transmit that, they weren't like playing it or doing the reps or practicing because they wanted to be that good. They were practicing because they're wanting to do it in that moment, you know? And that is what the Gate 16 comes to share with us. In summary, don't do things because of the objective that you have. Don't do things because they're going to get you somewhere. I feel like that's the homogenized picture right now, and what's wrong with the world is we are taught since we're little to do the things we do because we want to get into a good university at school, or we want to get into a good job, and so we take this extracurricular and this extracurricular because those are the ones that are going to show up nicely in our resume, and it just continues. It continues unless you realize that this is a shit show and that it's a clown life if you live it that way. And it's so hard, like for me it's so hard to fight that pressure to do the right thing that will get me the right outcome, even though I've been like out of the system for about 7 or 8 years now, where I'm my own boss and I've created my own thing, you know. It's still so loud. So it takes staying aware. Why am I doing what I'm doing? I'm a generator, so you're gonna have your own configuration of this depending on your type, but I'm a generator, so it's like, am I responding? And so many times the mind will be like, yeah, you're responding, you know, trying to like get you to do the thing. And it just takes so much presence from me. And it takes these cycles of death of being like, fuck, I've been away from giving myself the time to really wait. Waiting is so important, so important. And then when you wait and you respond, then whatever you're doing, there really is energy for it. So for me, it's doing this. Like, doing this is a big thing for me. Speaking and getting out my truth, it's a skill that I've been honing for a long time. And it really makes me happy in the present moment. It really feels like when I'm doing it, I get the satisfaction. And people tell me, so I live more in my Spanish side of things, people talk to me all the time and tell me how nice they feel when I communicate, and that they don't know why, but when they listen to me, no matter what I'm talking about, they will feel like they're at home. They will feel like this presence of love. And obviously this has part to do with my incarnation cross and what I'm here to do. And sometimes I transmit that even if I'm not trying, or even if I'm anxious while I'm making a video. But I know for a fact that when I'm really doing it from my sacral response, and where I'm really giving myself the time to like choose where I'm putting my energy, or what message I'm going to share, or how I'm going to do it. Like right now I'm in my car where there's like a million beautiful backgrounds around me that I could be using, because I live in nature and I have a pretty house. And I decided to come in here because this felt correct for me. Like, there are people in my house right now, and I responded to being alone in my aura, even though the video is going to be in the car. And gosh, I've just seen like the importance of staying grounded in my truth, and that the more that I do that, the frequency that I put out into the world, it's going to be correct for whoever hears it. And that doesn't mean that the video is going to have more views. it doesn't mean that the video is going to have more views. And I'm getting to the point where I don't know if I'm going to edit videos, or some of them. I don't know. Like, really, it's so not about the homogenized message of getting your message out there to as many people as possible, because you're helping them, like, not at the cost of your sanity, not at the cost of your physical health, not at the cost of staying true to what's true to you in every single present moment. That's what I'm feeling like the Gate 16 is like shining upon me right now. Do what you do because you like the process of it so much. And then the result will be talent, and will be, you're going to have skills, and you're going to be able to be seen and recognized for these skills. But not if you do it for that reason. And that's the second really like important thing that I wanted to share, is that this gate is projected. Nobody is really here to speak to be recognized. Don't ever speak to be recognized. And that's really hard for us that are content creators or whatever, creators. I call myself a creator because honestly, like, when I am really following my gut response, what my life really is about, it's about like transmitting what I live and my wisdom as a 4/6 profile. I transmit it out into the world, and I create content. Like, my form, like, I could write books, right? But my form of putting it out is speaking it into a camera, making a video, and it's something that really gives me satisfaction. But I have the Gate 16 in my unconscious earth, undefined throat, right? Unconscious 16, undefined throat. Like, it is a big place of conditioning for me. And so I really don't need to go into things like, I'm going to make this video because I want people to recognize. This is really the normal way we do things, is I have something to say, and if the mind thinks that you can get something from it, like be recognized from it, like, I want to put it out there. I want to put it out there because I'm seeking that feeling of recognition. And for me, it's been like a big work that I've done, and I keep doing it, where it's like, okay, I love sharing, and it is correct for me to share, but I need to make sure that I'm not sharing this because I want people to see like how smart I am, or what I even like. I don't want to share it because I want people to see what I'm saying, like to hear what I'm saying. Like, I'm doing it because this feels good to me to share. And it's huge. Like, the 16 in my undefined throat is huge because what it does, it's enthusiasm. So what it does is that it will get enthused about recognizing someone's skill in transmission. So the Gate 16 is really good at seeing like who's speaking through truth and who isn't. It can tell, and I have it in my body, so like my body unconsciously can tell. When I hear something and I hear someone speaking, I'm like, you are speaking truth. Like, I can feel truth in my body very easily. And so what will happen to me is like, I'll get enthused. I'll have a gut reaction a lot of the times, and then I'll get enthused, but my enthusiasm will start conditioning me into like, you need to share this, like, this needs to be shared, and you will be recognized for it. Maybe if you speak it, like, you'll get more followers. Like, this is the kind of thing that my mind goes into. And here's where like it's so important to understand how everything in your chart plays together. So the reason also I'm sharing how things look like for my chart, it's not because I think my chart is so important and you need to learn about my chart. I think that my goal when I share about human design is for people to do their auto analysis. That's the way that I've most learned, is when I'm analyzing my own chart. So I want that for you, and I think the examples will help. And it's so important to see how all the chart like plays a role together. So this happens to me. So I'll see someone saying something, I'll have a gut response, and I'll get enthused, and then my mind will come in and undefined throat and all, a lot of things more together saying, share this because then you'll get recognized. And the thing is, I have emotional authority. So a lot of the times in the past, I remember myself like having something really good to share, and it's coming from truth, and I'm just here to expand that truth, and that's all correct. But there's like this nervousness, there's this anxiety, like, I must go record this video now. And so many of my videos before, it's like I would go into recording and then would come out and feel drained, and maybe the transmission was fine, but I'm sure that it wasn't 100% clean. And I think that's what's important. We have to make sure or try our best so that our transmissions are 100% clean, because that's when the right people will get to them, will resonate with them. And so now what I do, and here's a tip, if you have emotional authority and you're content creator, you can honestly like apply this to so many things, is emotional authority needs to sit with things, and there will be nervousness until there won't, and you're just like more ready to share. It doesn't have to go away 100%, because I don't want it to paralyze you, because it can do that when you're just like waiting for there to be no nervousness, and it still can be a little nerve-wracking to get in front of a camera, for example. But what I do, because I do forget the idea if I don't like write it down. So like this is a good example, is I've been thinking about transmitting about the Gate 16 for like 3 days now, since I knew it was coming into the transits, and Gate 20 was in the transit, it was 20.6, and then I'm like, oh, Gate 16 is coming. And I'm like, I responded to someone speaking about Gate 16, and I was like, oh, I want to talk about this. I didn't go to talk about it in that moment. I wrote a little bit about it. And then yesterday I thought about it again, and I just like had a conversation with my AI about it. And then today in the morning I wrote, if I were to say something about the Gate 16, what would I want to say? And I wrote some things that I've been sharing with you. And then I felt like it was ready, like it was ripe. And coming here right now in the car and like choosing this very present moment to be here with you sharing this, it feels like the right words are just gonna come out for the right people. So that's what I would like suggest for anyone with emotional authority that gets enthused to share things. It's sit with it a little bit, and if you have that thing that happens to me, which is like you'll forget if you don't play with it, is play with it. Like play with ideas that you want to share until you feel clarity. So that is the transmission about the Gate 16 for today. If you've been contemplating this energy, if you have this on your chart, like I'd love to hear you. Comment below. I'll read every single one. And I'm gonna leave you my English Instagram over here. So if you want to contact me, give me something to respond to. I think that's the best place for you to do it right now.